Hi, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Um, we started, I don't know, just, oh, no, we're right on time. If you want to introduce yourself in the chat and let us know where you're coming in from, we'd love to hear where people are coming in from. We had people from Ireland before and Spain and of course the States. So it's always interesting to see where people are attending from. Oh, hey, Texas. Hello.
I'm from New
Okay,
York
well,
City.
oh,
Hello.
New York City. All
Yeah.
right. And I'm Virginia. So I'm coming in from outside of Washington, D.C. So, we'll get started and people will pop in and introduce themselves, which would be great. So I'm Lisa Shaughnessy, the host of the Writing Retreat Sampler, and welcome to season 1, episode 2. Oh, hi, Miranda. Miranda also is in the DC, Maryland area. Great, just across the river from me. So this is going to be a great episode with Dorothy Holtermann and her White Mountain Book Writing Retreat. So Dorothy, thanks so much for being here with us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, I love doing this. I'm very proud of my retreat. My family can't keep me quiet about it, so it's wonderful to have somebody to talk to about it that actually wants to hear it. So that's good.
Excellent, excellent. So we're gonna pop over to the slide deck here. Where am I? All right. You know how it is. Sometimes trying to find where things are. Still getting used to the platform.
It's beautiful.
So usually this is where I talk about our sponsors super quick, and we just have one. Oh, thank you so much for the heart emojis. I really appreciate it. Um, we have one, the Writing Retreat Directory, which happens to be the other project that I'm working on that just beta launched a couple of weeks ago. So we have some writing retreats up on the directory that we're really excited about. And at the end of this session, I'll let you know how you can check out the sponsor booths. And if you're watching the replay in AirMeet, you will also be able to go to the sponsor booths right from inside the platform as well. And before we get started, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. The chat box, I'm sure you found it, is the chat box is the symbol at the top right with the two little speech bubbles, and it'll be open during the entire presentation. We won't stop to answer any questions, but feel free to put them in the chat so you don't forget later. And when we do the Q&A at the end of the presentation, we'll use the Q&A function, which is just below the chat symbol. And we'll tell everybody how to manage that once we're there too. So I hope everyone is looking forward to hearing more about the White Mountain Book Writing Retreat, as I am. So I love the emojis. So if people are excited to be watching this, go ahead and let us know. All right. Okay, Dorothy, now it's you. It's your time. So tell us first a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I have been running book writing retreats for 7 years. The White Mountain was the first place that I chose for retreats. But before that, I was a speaker all over New York City, primarily in health and wellness facilities and yoga studios, because I had a real life upending episode that changed my life from being an attorney in lower Manhattan to becoming a health and wellness expert, mostly because I had the proverbial crash and burn. And after I went through that and healed myself in my 50s, I felt really called that I needed to write a book about that experience. And also, I felt really under a lot of pressure to catapult my health and wellness career. So I achieved both by writing a book about both my experience but also about the health and wellness lessons that I learned along the way. So I came into teaching other people how to write and publish their book when a local yoga studio asked me that I belonged to, you know, can you just come in and tell everybody how you did it? We all saw the mess you were in a couple of years ago. We all saw you blossom and change in front of us. And then out of nowhere, you manifested in a class that you're going to write a book, but you actually went ahead and did it. So can you give a talk about how you did it? So I put a lot of thought in that. And I just, went back and I thought of all of the steps that I went through, and did a talk that then they asked me, would I do something more extensive? Because it sounded like I had created a system, and I did. So my first Birth a Book course was at a yoga studio. It was live. And I think it was about 6 weeks. And I did that for a couple of years all over New York City. And then from there, I got the courage to do it online and in a retreat format.
Oh, that's excellent. I love that whole transformational aspect of writing a book and what gets you there, and then how that gets you through to the other side. That's such an amazing story. I love it. And we do want to hear more about your retreat, but first, I really like writers. I really like our guests and people who are watching this to understand how a writing retreat will help them. And I don't think enough people really stop to think about that. I've talked to a lot of writers, and a lot of response I get is, oh, I never thought of a writing retreat. So it does have a huge impact on writers and when they're trying to reach their goals. And what would you tell someone who asks why they should attend one?
Okay, so it was really how I developed my writing retreat, um, was thinking about all the things that I wished that I had that I did not have, um, when I was struggling to take those initial steps. Um, so um, it was hard. It was so writing my book was one of the most painful things I ever did in my entire life. And um, what I was missing was being able to get out of my situation. And so I'm not seeing the slides.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see the slides. I don't know why you don't see the slides. You know what? We're just going to roll on. So the
Okay, I
first
see this.
thing
I
is
see the slide right now. Okay, so I'm
nurturing
gonna.
and expertise.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
apologize. I
It's
flipped them way before we started talking on the next topic. So I'm sorry that they did not catch up.
no worries. So what I want to share is that I'm as much of just a coach for health and wellness as a book coach, because I really get that the most important thing to start is the belief that you can do it. And I find that is a real sticking point. People start, and then they confront all the normal everyday doubts whenever we try to do something big and challenging. And I baked into this retreat a way for people to sort of leap forward more easily. And the nurturing part of the retreat is not it's not only for the most obvious. Obviously, we all do better when we're being cared for and nurtured, but it is my secret sauce because I really get that it really requires enough growth to move forward on these big projects. So I bake in all of the growth elements I possibly can. Um, and there is nothing like being around other people doing the same thing that you're doing, which also exponentially improves the odds that people who come will move forward all the way to the end, because all of these people who come to the retreats have the same doubts, the same obstacles, the same day-to-day busyness that we all face. And when we work through these together, and I have people come who have been on prior retreats come with their books, and that has really helped people when they talk about, yes, I was you 3 years ago. Look, I did it. I just won, a book award. And, it just really makes people say, if you could do it, I could do it. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's just fun.
Yeah, right. Because nobody understands what you're going through other than other writers. Like we have our friends and family who support us, but we can't really bounce ideas off them necessarily,
Well,
or
we can, but we inflict suffering on them.
right, or do we always feel comfortable doing it?
Right.
So I think that's great. I think you're right. Like just being in a group with other people who are going through the same thing you are or have gone through it and can tell you, yes, this is what you can do. I just think that's an amazing thing. And I also think that with the bouncing of ideas or getting that, feedback from other writers can be really important, because when we're writing our stories, we can tell a story, but writing it is something different. And it's really nice to get kind of that feedback from people who are also writing. It's just nice to hear what other people are doing. What are you doing for character development? Or the bugger one, like, what do you mean show don't tell? Like, give me some good examples of that. So yeah, I really like that community where everybody's just in one place at one time, and whether it's 7 in the morning or 10 at night, those people are with you and you can just bounce ideas off them or ask questions.
So what's interesting about our team is that Clementina is a writing professor. She's the person to go to with the show don't tell. I am the foundational person. I'm trying to just get you to settle into a book foundation. What is it that you are trying to achieve in your life? Like for me, I look at this as like exponentially improving their health and wellness as well.
Right.
So and what I share is, what book can you write that you're going to toss in the direction that you want your future to go in? Because sometimes, like, it might take the first day or two for people to realize, oh, I'm writing the wrong book. I think this is going to happen after the book, but this a completely other thing is what I'm writing. So it was really Mary, the woman on this image, Dr. Mary Hart. She came in and she wanted to write this book on how doctors mishandle mental health, and um, she had like this whole idea of a book. And it turned out that actually what she really wanted to talk about and what she really wanted to write about is how she could mentor young health and young doctors on how to take better care of themselves earlier in their career. And just seeing the transition and the stories that come up and the clarity that you get, it's just hard to do it at home alone because you're not getting that feedback. You're just stuck in your head.
Right. And you don't have that dedicated time. So at a writing retreat, no laundry, no carpool, no, all of that goes away.
Yeah,
So you
it's weird.
actually get the mental space to think about these things, because if you're running around from here to there, you're not actually ever giving yourself a chance to think through it all. You're just getting snippets, and and then you don't know what to do with those. They're just like snippets running around in your head, and you actually need to take that time to sort through them and see what they mean and where they fit. So I love that.
And also, most people who have had complex lives, the problem is sometimes you do really have 3 or 4 books in you, and trying to figure out which one is the best one to start and stay focused on. That alone, if you come to a writer's retreat and just get that fixed in your head, I'm writing this book first. I'm honoring all these other ideas. It's not that you don't want to like any of parts of your body or parts of your past feel like they're abandoned. You just say, I'll be back. I'll be back and write you next.
Right, right. And you can really see from like these testimonials, that impact we were talking about earlier, like what that impact is. And it helps others really see what they could expect from a writing retreat. And I don't think it's hard to explain the impact, and people really have to experience it. So I hope more people you know, do take us up on these ideas and try to find a writing retreat that works for them. Either a 3-day one, a whole week one, a 2-week one. There's a variety. Um, but a lot of times when I talk to writers, they don't know what to bring to a retreat. They don't know, um, am I supposed to bring my laptop? Am I supposed to bring, am I supposed to leave that home? Should I bring an iPad? Should I bring, headphones? I don't know, all the things. Like people, they just, it's such a new experience for so many people. They don't want to not bring what they should. So what would you recommend that people bring to a writing retreat, either yours specifically or in general?
I I definitely like people to bring their laptop because they're going to do a lot of writing that will need to be edited, and it's really hard if you write like mountains on paper. And then you have to go home and retype it in. So there's no point in that. I'm very practical in my wanting repurposing of work. We bring handouts that must be written by hand, but they are designed to move you through the different considerations you need to write and publish a book, and to really identify your message, drill it down, identify where you want your life to go and who you're writing your book for. Those are coaching handouts that are designed specifically for writing by hand. I am going to give people, when they come to my retreat, a brilliant idea book. That's basically to honor all of the messages your subconscious is going to start to deliver. When you really dedicate yourself to a project, you're going to be flooded with ideas. You will think, this is such a brilliant idea. I'll write it the next time I sit down at my laptop. And you'll sit down at your laptop and say, what was that brilliant idea I had? So it is critical that that brilliant idea stays with you as much as humanly possible, and that you get those ideas down so that when you do sit down to write, you can refer back to them. So when people sign up, I say, if you want to start your brilliant idea book to start drilling down these ideas, please, by all means, go ahead and do it. If you have writing, it's a really good idea to bring a sample, only because we always start sharers right from the day one. And we give you things to share if you don't bring your own writing. But if you bring some of your own writing, you might as well go dive into that right away. A gentleman last night signed up for the September retreat, and he said, I don't have a sample of my writing. I said, that is perfectly okay. Don't just start writing willy-nilly if you're not a writer. I almost rather just take you fresh and let you start from that place. And maybe the most important thing is, don't come thinking you know it all. Don't feel like, I want really people to come with an open heart and an open mind, to just really be present and experience this unique opportunity to self-express. There is nothing like it. It's wonderful.
Right. Like you said before, many people show up with one idea in their head and end up on a completely different path. So, yeah, I think that curiosity and just being open to, wherever your mind takes you once you have that time, that's really good advice. I like that. So now we actually get to your retreat, which I love this area. My husband's from Massachusetts, so we go up to New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts all the time, and it's just so gorgeous,
It
especially in
really
the
is.
fall. Um, so yeah, so tell us more about where and when, and give us
So
some more
we're in
details.
Franconia that used to have the old man on the mountain, but he eroded off to everybody's
Oops.
horror. But in any case, it's still a absolutely glorious, pristine area where there is just, I mean, it's worth the drive just for the air. You feel so oxygenated. We're in a beautiful facility that has mountain-fed water, spring water, and it's just remote, but at the same time, everything you need for a delightful retreat is at our you know at our beck and call.
And so you have two dates for the Franconia one, is that
We
right?
do. So for years, we only did the July retreat. And last year was the first time July filled up so fast that I added a September option. And it's, you know, they're both full. In fact, September, um, has like, even though it's just it's 3 months away. We only have 3 spots left, so that's wonderful. And we do now have some backup housing at an inn that's less than 2 minutes away, so I can expand a little bit. We do have 3 teachers, so there is a lot of one-on-one. And here we are at the Horse and Hound. It looks really tiny in that picture, but it is something like 300 or 400 feet long. We have our own library, dining room, terrace. That's the rear of the property. We have a bubbling brook right in the back. And it's just a beautiful old historic inn. The rooms are just so I don't know, English feeling, comfort, not fussy, just nice and clean, like the perfect environment for writers. And we have our own yoga teacher who comes every single day. And she doesn't put people in pretzels. She just moves them so they feel more confident, and keeps their body just, in a greater state of comfort, because we do a lot of writing. We do accomplish a lot. And then the food is just really luscious and delicious. We have our very own chef, and she makes a plant strong meal. We don't use gluten, we don't use dairy. We just give people this opportunity to just really feel as vital as possible. So
Oh,
this
very,
is
very nice.
just this is half of one of the this is the group half of the group from last July.
Okay.
What a wonderful oh, I'm enjoying seeing all of them. Uh, so we get a lot of in the July, we really get a lot of teachers because they have the summer off. But we get a variety of people, even like some, we even get some fiction writers where I'm supposed to tell people we don't do fiction, but they do really well with fiction, especially if they want the fiction to deliver some kind of deeper message. So you know this is a happy group
So,
that I really enjoyed.
but do you find that people in that wellness healing area, those are the people that are like usually most drawn to your retreats? I know you said you had some fiction
Yes,
writers, but
absolutely. And you know, I expand it, and people who want to deliver inspirational messages, because we spend a lot of time really identifying what do you want people to feel, or do, Or how do you want your reader to change from the experience of reading your book? And when you have that baked in, that gives us a whole launch strategy, because then we know how to find the reader. There's more of an urgency when you're offering a book that solves some kind of challenge or some kind of problem in a person's lives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that. I agree. So you did talk a little bit about what goes on during the retreat. You hit on some of these things, but can you just walk us through a day at your White Mountain book writing retreat?
Sure. So mornings, I mean, every day we start with a delicious farm fresh breakfast. We do incorporate eggs there on the side. We have all kinds of, you know, nut-based yogurts, and we start with a big green juice every morning that's freshly made. I mean, we just want people to feel really, really good. And it's always beautifully presented. We have 3 talks or workshops during the course of every single day. So I always start the day, set the intention, do a talk or a workshop. Afternoons are usually Clementina. Oh, so after my initial workshop, we then do yoga. And that's how we start the day. So breakfast, my workshop, then we do yoga, with time baked in to do some writing exercise. And I do exercises not just for the sake of doing exercises. All of the exercises we do are purposeful and incorporated into the project. Because most of my people are really busy and they don't have time to just sit around writing about things that are not going to be incorporated in the book, because that's like our overarching reason why they're there. Clementina, then, she focuses on the writing itself, having people share writing, share share how to curate stories that are powerful, how to present them, story arcs, everything writing teachers teach. Then Jessie, our third teacher, who happens to be my daughter and was the first person who started with me, she's actually a professional actress and filmmaker. And she's been teaching acting for decades. And she started teaching in Soho in Manhattan when she was just like 16 years old. And what she bakes in was, I honestly, accidental, because I just wanted her to help people, do warm-ups and to deliver book readings as if. And what we discovered is that when you incorporate like how actors prepare for roles, the "if you believe it, I believe it" actually really was such a hit with the writers, because again, it was like this embodiment of what you were doing, and the coaching to make it powerful, because everybody's going to have to do some marketing at the end. So once again, that has a marketing aspect of it too. So that's what our day looks like. Towards the end, we do some one-on-one coaching for a couple of reasons. Clementina gets everybody and looks at 500 words that they've written, and she does on-the-fly editing, so they can see how even their best work can be exponentially improved by a professional, so that they will feel confident that they don't need to get stuck on every single sentence. Just get the book written, get that proverbial shitty first draft out there, because everybody's book gets edited. So, that also is designed to be a confidence booster. So here we are. On the left is Clementina teaching our writing class in the library. We have the dining room has all these tables all over. So you see Elena, who's just finished her draft, which I'm delighted to say, of an amazing book. You have plenty of room to find space, to stretch out, to put your laptop, your notes, your mind map, all these crazy things we're making you do, but then actually plenty of time to dig in and get your work done. Because I'm very much, this is not like 100% relaxation. We're doing something big. We're investing in your future.
Right. And And especially your retreat, because you bill it as so transformative, and that's the reason they're there. They want to make that transformation, or they want to show others how to make that transformation. So, being really focused on that, I it, yeah, I just really like that feel for your retreat. I'm sure that people come away with that.
So here's where embodiment really shows up, both in the performance coaching, which is Jessie sitting in the chair and she's doing performance coaching. What she's doing right now, she's asking Michael, who has just developed a very clear book concept, to make some, and he's a good writer, but to look at what he's going to present and help him make decisions on how he wants people to feel each line he delivers. And it's so amazing when you see, I want them to feel curious. Oh, I want them to feel confident. I want them to, feel worried. When you start making those conscious decisions, the presentations like totally change. It's really cool. And then the yoga, people may not know, but yoga actually, the movements that are made for precise reasons. So when you do warrior, you're literally embodying what it feels like to be a warrior. So, yoga is a perfect choice in my mind for these types of events.
And is this, I don't want to say mandatory, but does everybody participate? Do you just encourage people to
I
participate?
have only had one person not participate, and she did not participate because she had never done yoga before and she was worried. So she just watched like a day or two, and then she realized, I can do this. The teacher modifies. She may have some people in a chair, another person might be doing a handstand, but it's a small group. So, and we get like a handful of people that are like 500 level yoga teachers. And I can assure you, I am nowhere near that level. And she just makes everybody feel really confident and explains, I just want you to feel good in your body. That's all. I just want to get you relaxed, get your energy flowing, get the stagnation from sitting around writing out, so. And I think this is also unique to my retreat, or as far as I know, but I don't let anybody leave the retreat without an after the retreat strategy. Because I don't want people to come to my retreat and 10 years later say, oh, I went, it was a really fun time, but heck, I never wrote a book. I didn't know what to do after the retreat. It was inspiring when I went. No, I want you to write the book. I'm counting on you to go and write that book. I've invested my heart and soul in this book, and I want you to do it. And we offer services. We have a mentorship program. We have publishing services, so we can make it real easy. But I don't care how you move forward. Some people have family or friends they know. Some people plan to join maybe like a community writing, whatever. As long as you leave saying, this is how I'm going to envision what I'm doing when I leave this perfectly, womb of an event.
Right.
How am I going to really birth the book when I get home? Because that's what really matters.
Right, because when you have that, alone time, when you're in your cocoon of a writing retreat, of course, the outside world disappears. You get to just focus on that one thing, and we all do it, right? Whenever we are working on something, we say, "Oh, no, I'll keep up with it. I know I'll keep up with it. I'll make time for it. I've put it in my calendar, all that things." And then, a week back from home and everything's happening,
and the first tsunami hits.
Right, and you let that slide. So it's nice that you help them develop that after retreat strategy, because it helps them to keep it top of mind and also give them ways to keep going that they might not have thought about. And a couple of writing retreat hosts I've talked to, people in their retreats actually stay in touch, form writing groups online, and just stay, in touch with that. Have you found that from your writing retreats as well?
I stay in touch with everybody. Almost everyone at least joins my mentorship program for a period of time. and at the very least gets emails from me after. Give them a little poke here and there. How are you doing? Want to share anything with me? And some people do not join my community, but go off and find other people to help them. And then when they come back to tell me they've published, I bring them in to, to do talks at my mentorship. And I, do my best to help promote their books, put their books on the Birth the Book website. So to be honest with you, we really can't help everybody who comes to our retreat anymore. We've gotten a little bit more than we bargained for. But I am like all in for anybody who comes for this retreat for life. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dorothy, thank you so much for taking time, being here with us, sharing your retreat. Again, I just really appreciate it. And I know that people are going to get so much out of what you've told us about how a retreat can help them, and also how yours specifically can help people who are looking for what you're offering.
So I'd love to share the covers.
Yes, I can't wait to get there. But first, tell us where.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Where can people find out more about you? I know you have it up here on the slide, but is there a specific way? Is there a better way? One way or the other?
If you come to Birth of Book, so I have two websites, birthofbookcoach.com, because Birth of Book was not available, but then it since became available. So now I have two websites, birthofbookcoach.com and just now Birth the Book. And we're migrating everything over Birth the Book. You can also go right to Facebook, Birth the Book, and join our Facebook group. And you can always just text me, 917-751-0674. I'm not so big that I actually will answer you. So there's lots of ways to meet me. If you go to birththebook.com, there's actually a form you can fill out, an inquiry. You can set up an appointment, with me. And, we're not hiding. If you Google Birth the Book, chances are we're going to be all over.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you have already told me what you do at the end of your own slide presentations. And I love that you included it in this one as well, because I love what these books represent. So hopefully you can see the slide right now.
So this is a show don't tell, right? And it's powerful because this is just a very small number of books that were published from retreats and working with Birth the Book. So, the end of Try Again, Kristen Carter, she came to retreat 1 with an idea that she's a personal trainer, a really successful personal trainer, and wanted to write a book to enhance her business, take it to the next level, do some speaking. So she wrote a book, and she wrote it pretty much she mapped it all out at the retreat and published it within 6 months.
Wow.
And she got some good traction, but she joined the mentorship, and she would get much more traction if she also had a companion workbook. So she just published this book, The End of Try Again. And it really helps people just walk through all the stages of weight loss. So Driving Myself Uncrazy is pretty much a memoir about social anxiety and tales from Jen's van. Jen literally came to the retreat in a van, and instead of choosing housing, slept in the van. So, and she's writing about how her and her van traveled the country, but also learning lessons along the way to share specifically with women travelers who feel like they have to either go with a man or wait for a group of friends. And this is how, the desire to travel just set her off to doing it on her own.
Oh, that's cool.
Mama, What Color Is Your Love is actually a children's book. It's a beautiful children's book by a woman who's a principal of a school who found herself with what she thought was terminal brain cancer. And she had 2 twin boys and wanted to leave them a legacy. And she goes through all of this beautiful, each color. And the overarching message is no matter where I am, my love will surround you like all the colors in the world. And it's just a
Oh.
beautiful, heartwarming book. Stork, we're super proud of. Catherine actually has won several awards with this book, including the Cover Design Award, which we are super proud of because that's our in-house cover designer. But when the book opens up, it's actually really cool because the rest of the stork wraps around the
Oh,
cover.
okay.
And it's all about how, if you're adopted in the closed adoption system, you have no right to discover who your parents are. And it's just her whole memoir of how she did uncover her parents through litigation and
Oh.
research. And she writes it like a mystery. And
Hmm.
it was very imaginative how she presented this. And it's a really good read. And then The Gifts from Losing You is how Sarah Green healed from the loss of her son, 18 years old, who died in a car crash really suddenly, and how and she's a health coach and a nurse, and it was all about how she developed a continuing relationship with her son that in many ways was deeper and ultimately was what healed her. So that's a
Oh,
beautiful book.
wow. Well, you definitely have an eclectic mix of books from your retreats. That's very fascinating. So last but not least, you have another retreat. I think this is your first European retreat coming up
Yes,
in
I'm really very
next
excited
year.
about this retreat, April um, 2024. We are going to Lisbon. I spent a month last year living in Lisbon and meeting other writers and coaches and finding a location that we could bake in all of the things that I bake in the mountains in a city that is really magical.
Oh,
So
nice.
it will be different because there's going to be some city energy, but we've found this beautiful, resort that's in the city, but sort of sequestered enough that we'll still get that nice, cozy feeling. But when we go, instead of eating on the premises like we do in the mountains, we're going to take turns going to different places that are curated for us to really bake in some beautiful Portuguese food experiences. And also that there's like a museum of poetry that we're going to visit. So it's a few more days that lets us do all the same curriculum, but actually the curriculum is going to like
Uh,
achieve the
you know
same
what?
objective,
I
but
would
I'm
love to
changing
hear
it a
more
little
about
bit.
it. I don't want,
Okay,
I know
all
we could
good.
talk for hours about it. I do want to
For
get to the
sure.
Q&A, and
Yeah,
I
for
will
sure.
definitely have you back to talk about this one. I know I love Lisbon. It's beautiful, beautiful city. So, but we will focus on the White Mountain Riding Retreat for now,
Sure.
and I'm going to stop the slides and let's get to the Q&A. I think we have, let's see, I don't know. How long after the retreat is the post-retreat call? So you were saying that at some point you follow up and you ask how people are doing. Um, so how long after
So
retreat?
when people get home, they get so the after the book strategy happens at the retreat. Then when they go home, I invite them to come on a mentorship session with us. So it's usually 2 to 3 weeks because usually I need a break after these retreats because I'm so on. And then when I get home, so I have classes every 2 weeks, and it's usually within 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. So do we have any other questions? Anybody either in the chat or the Q&A? I feel like went through a lot of stuff and people, if they don't have questions now, sometimes they have questions later. Well, I think that wraps it up. Okay. Again, Dorothy, thank you. I can't thank you enough for coming back on. You were part of my first Writing Retreat Sampler event, and I really appreciate having you back. And when I have new ones, maybe we can talk about the Lisbon one
Sounds great.
next year. That would be amazing because that does look fantastic. And
And
thank
thank
you.
you for having me because as you can tell, I love to talk about it.
I don't blame you. I would too. They're amazing. Yes, yes, of course. You're very welcome. And thank you to everyone either watching live or on the replay. I really appreciate you supporting the Writing Retreat Sampler and the White Mountain Book Writing Retreat. So again, the sponsor, we have one sponsor booth, the Writing Retreat Directory, which has newly started. And I'm always looking for Writing Retreat hosts who want to be part of that. So if anybody is watching live and they want to head over to the sponsor booth and check it out, that'd be great. So I guess that's it.
Okay.
I'm really
You did
terrible
it.
at ending things. You know, it's like, okay, bye, thanks. Okay, bye, Dorothy. Thank you
Bye-bye.
again. Bye.